Okay. Am I live? Yeah, guess I am. Where's my freaking background? Okay, guys, I'm streaming in more than one place tonight. Good evening. Hey, Miss Evelyn, how you doing? With your sweet self. Hey, y'all, come on in, come on in, come on in. I am trying to set up. I am doing something new tonight. I'm trying to stream in multiple places. Don't shoot me. I'm trying it for the first time. I'm streaming on I'm on TikTok and I'm on YouTube for now, testing it out to see if I'm gonna be able to do this. I need to clean up my office a little bit better, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So we're gonna see. We're going to see how this goes, how this works, if this is even going to work. And yeah, there we go. So here I am. Here I am. I'm on retirement SSDI. How much money can I have in the bank? As much as you want, Miss Grace. There is no limit for retirement. Okay, welcome to my live. Welcome to my live, everybody. You got the Miss Evelyn. I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying. So y'all come on in. I'm excited. And for my regulars, the people that come on every single night, put a heart in the chat for me. So chat. If you're new here, I am Ponchetta Sasha Wu. I am your social security and disability expert, and we welcome you. I just got started. I just started my retirement. How much can I make on part-time job? 24,000 for the year. 24,000 for the year. So welcome to my live. My name is Ponchetta Sasha Wu. I am a retired Social Security retirement and disability expert, and this is my first live. I'm new to this, so go easy on me today. I'm multiple streaming today. I am streaming in multiple places. I'm going here on TikTok, and then I'm here on YouTube, and I'm going to be answering questions from my chat. So, um, as the questions come in, they're going to come in on TikTok because I haven't really built an audience on YouTube yet. So the questions are going to come from YouTube, and then I'm going to answer them in both places. So bear with me tonight because I'm testing this out for the first time and I'm trying my best. So I'm ready. What y'all got tonight? I kind of figured since this was a test, typically we would be talking about disability tonight. I have my weekly show on TikTok called The Punchline. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I have at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. On Monday nights, we talk about retirement. On Tuesday nights, we talk about SSDI. On Wednesday nights, we talk about SSI. And on Thursday nights, it's a free for all, and we talk about everything. Well, since I am doing this multiple streaming tonight, we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about everything. Whatever you have questions about, I'm going to answer your questions. But first, I'm going to give some background so that people understand. And I'm going to talk a little bit about, I had my webinar this week. My webinar was for women. It was called Fund Her Future, and it was based primarily for widows, retired, um, widows, divorced spouses, and spouses either retired or planning to retire, for us to discuss what your options are. So today I'm going to expound on that a little bit more, but I'm also going to get into different things that you should know about disability. So Come on in and let's get this party started. Tap the screen. And also, if you're new here and you don't know, you're not familiar with my page, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, do all the things to help me to move up in the algorithm, if you will, so that we can get more people on the punchline. So tonight, okay, we got a question. Hold up. The question is, I'm on SSDI retirement. How much can I make monthly without losing my Medicare? So, VA disability and Social Security. Okay, okay. So the question is, if you receive SSDI retirement, how much can I make monthly without losing my Medicare? So let me be clear. SSDI and retirement are two different things. So let's clarify for a minute. Social Security has four main programs that are going to be the focus for individuals. There is Social Security retirement and Social Security retirement. That includes retirees, their spouses, and then their children, widows, and widowers. All of that is going to come under the retirement umbrella. And then there are the two disability programs, SSDI and SSI. And then there's Medicare. So those are the four main programs that you'll have. So when you say SSDI retirement, that's not really your retirement. That's a disability program. So you're either getting retirement or you're getting disability, one or the other. And if you're over the age of 65, it's all retirement. So I want to be clear, Grace. If you're indicating that you're getting disability, then it's just disability. Social Security, SSDI is just Social Security Disability Insurance. That's what it's short for. SSDI stands for Social Security Disability Insurance. And then the retirement program is the acronym is OASD, and that's for old timers, survivors, retirement, insurance, and something or other. I can't remember what the acronym is, but it's like OASDI, something like that. Nonetheless, my point is, if you're getting disability, there are a few things that we need to know, really, to be honest, about how much money you can earn. So if you are younger than 62, then it's going to be a little bit more stricter. And then there is a trial period where you can work for 9 months. And they don't care how much you make during your trial period. But after that trial period, you can't make more than 1210 per month. That's $1,210 per month. And then you have 36 months where you can work during that period, making only the $1,200 per month. And then after that, after your 36 months is up, you can't go over 16. I think it may be 16 or 19. I'll be able to tell you in just a few minutes. 1690. So to answer Miss Grace's question about disability, can you work and how much you can earn? The answer is yes. However, when you receive disability, because of course you're indicating that you receive disability because you can't work, Social Security will let you attempt to try to work. During those attempts, you have a 9-month trial period. And during that 9-month trial, they don't care how much money you make. Won't matter at all. But then after your trial period, you have another 36 months where you can try to work again. And during that time, you can't make more than $1,210 per month gross. And then after that, you can't make more than 1690. And if in fact you do, it is very, very important that during that 36 month, you follow those rules. If you go over that, because they'll let you work, they'll let you work for years, and then they'll come back and say you owe a, a large amount of money. And then that's when they'll give you the receipts and say, hey, we show that your trial period was during this date. And then after that, you started making this amount of money, and these are the months that you went over. They give actual receipts. So you want to be really careful with that. And I think that's the most important question that people ask all of the time. And this is how they get tripped up with work. But I also want to emphasize one of the main things that you need to know. And this is one of the things that I tell people too. And I give people a script on what to ask. Most of the time, most of the times, you guys are asking the wrong questions. Instead of telling me you get SSDI, how much can I make a month? You need to be asking, well, you can ask how much you can make, but you need to ask, do you show that I have ever worked since I have, do you show any work since I started getting disability? I want to preface that by saying, just because in your mind you may not have worked, there may be some erroneous earnings or something on your record. And then you may not find out until later on when you did finally work and they say, we show that you made X amount of dollars over and now you owe us X amount of dollars. So that's why I'm always telling people, check your record, and then start to ask questions on what you need to do next. But you always need to know what your start should be with your history, your work history, knowing what that is, knowing what's on your record. That's what's going to help you in the end, and then you can plan from there. I hope that helps. Do I qualify for Social Security? I'll be 62 next month. If so, how much? I've been working over 30 years. Certain lime. So let's talk about who qualifies for retirement benefits. If you're wanting to apply for Social Security retirement, first you have to be 62 years old. So that answers that question. At 62, you're eligible. Now, the next thing you have to have is 40 quarters, meaning you had to have worked the last for at least 10 years and paid into Social Security for 10 years to be eligible for retirement benefits. If you do not have that, then I would want to encourage each and every person that's on these lives, start checking to see how many quarters you've worked and if you have enough. Many people assume that they have it, or they don't start checking or looking until they're just tired and want to see what they can get. By the time you are 55 years old, that means within the next 7 to 8 years, you're going to be looking at retirement. You need to be checking in to see what your Social Security benefits or how many quarters you have at 55. And really, if you could do it sooner, that's even better because then you can plan better. But at 55, no later than, you should be going into Social Security or calling in and saying, hey, I need to know if I'm eligible for retirement. That's when it should start. Don't wait until you're 62. But to answer that young woman's question, can she retire? She's eligible. But the question also is, should you retire at 62? So just because you're eligible for retirement at 62 doesn't mean that you should retire at 62. So hope that helps. I was on my job for 25 years and I'm 51. Is that good? Yes, that's really good. But Georgia girl, what I would tell you is that right now is when your planning should start. You're at the perfect age to plan your retirement and to determine how much, at what age you should start to decide when you want to retire. So at 51, you should be, and what I am preparing for you guys, it's going to be on my workbook as well, is the scripts that you would need so that when you contact the local offices, you know what to ask them. You know what you're looking for. You know what information that you should be gathering so that you can start to plan. So at 51 years old, that is the perfect age that you should be trying to find out how much your benefits will be at 62, 63, 64, and so forth and so on. And that way you will know if that's going to be enough. And with inflation, it's going to be so much more in 10 years. But if you've been on your job for 25 years, you work another 10, by the time that you retire, um, you'll have a bigger picture of what your retirement is going to be from your employer and what your social security will be, and if in fact you'll have enough to live off of. Those are the questions, and that's the information that you should be trying to gather. Oh gosh, I got hot real quick. Woo. So, next question. Grand rise, I'm 54 this year in April and on SSDI. What age should I apply for retirement? Sir, if you're already on SSDI, you're getting your retirement. Let me explain something to y'all. When you apply for disability, you're saying to the government that you can no longer work because you are now disabled. You're out of commission. So, because you're saying that, you will apply for disability, which is basically early retirement. So, please understand there is no, I'm getting disability SSDI now. When can I apply for retirement? You're getting your retirement. You're getting it. You're getting your benefits early. So I just want people to understand how that works. If you get disability, you don't go back and get more money later on when you're retirement age. Actually, because you determined what it was determined that you could no longer work, they cut you a check early. And that's how that works. So if you're already getting your benefits, sir, that's what you're going to get. I'm 52. I have 37 credits. I went into the office. They said I have to work another year to 62. Now that is true. What you want to do though, if you're 52, you can't get benefits until you're 62. So for the next 10 years, you need to work on not just getting the quarters, you need to work on getting more money, because what's going to happen is, because you only have 32 quarters and you're 52, you only have 37, that means that there's some gaps in there. So what will happen is when they figure your benefits out, um your benefit amount is going to be lower because somewhere in there you have some zeros. Social Security benefits are based on your highest of 35 years. So they average your 35 years of your earnings to come up with your monthly amount. Well, in those averages, if there are zeros, that's going to bring your monthly amount down. So I would tell you, the question is, I'm 52, I have 37 credits, which are quarters. I went into the office. They said I have to work another year until I'm 62. I mean, they told you basically you needed to work another year to get your 4 quarters. That's basically what that would be equal to. But my answer in response to that is that you don't want to just work to get the 40 quarters, because what will happen is, and if you stop working after that, that's just going to be enough money for Medicare. Medicare is $202. Let's say you stop working and you just get 4 more quarters. That's working 1 more year, and your benefits turn out to be $500 a month. And we take Medicare out of that for insurance. That means that you're only going to have about $300 to live off of. What I'm telling you is, do not focus on the quarters at this point. You need to focus on making more money, because the more money you make, the higher your benefit amount will be. So let me explain it to you and break it down. So in order to receive retirement benefits, you have to have 40 quarters. Your 40 quarters are based on credits that you have to earn. You can only earn 4 in a year. So for each quarter in a year, it has to equal at least $1,890 per quarter. So that'll give you It's 4 quarters in a year. So you get 4 quarters per year for your Social Security retirement benefits. So what you want to do is, you can earn those within 10 years. You'll get 5 per year. If you get, for 4 quarters for 5 years, that's going to be 10 quarters per 5 years. Then the next, 5 quarters. I'm sorry, 5 quarters 5 years, 10 years is what it takes. I get so confused easily. You only need 10 quarters for your 40 quarters. So what that means, you need 40 quarters. I'm all confused on here. I'm so sorry, y'all. You need 40 quarters. I'm moving too fast. You need 40 quarters. You can only get 4 in a year. It only takes 10 years for you to get your 40. So 10, 5, and then 10 in the next 5 years will give you 40 quarters. But after you've earned your 40, you're no longer worried about the quarters, you're worried about the money. It's not after you've earned 40 quarters, you don't worry about the quarters, you worry about the money, the income. So once you've earned your 40 quarters, your goal is to increase your earnings so that you can play the long game and get more money per month. That's the strategy, guys. That's what you got to be working towards. You need to be working towards trying to make enough money that you could live off of in retirement, not just get 40 quarters. 40 quarters is only the goal when you're trying to be insured, get disability, or whatever the case may be, or so that you could get insurance. But it's not the ultimate goal as far as your retirement, because 9 times out of 10, you won't be able to live off of the money from just a minimum of 40 quarters that you earned late in the game. How do I know this? Because I know how the system is designed and how the money is configured. So I'm telling you, if they base your benefits, and I'm going to give you an example. If you didn't work the first 15 years of your adult life, I'm talking about your adult life, and you only worked in the last 15 of the years, that means there are 15 years that are going to be nothing but zeros in your calculation. So what happens to a median income when there are a lot of zeros? The averages go down, not up. The only way that average is going to go up is if you continue to make money and you replace those zeros with numbers. This is why also a person who is approved for disability, a person who's approved for disability, but they're approved because they worked for the last 10 years, but all the years before they didn't work that much, they got disability and they may have gotten maybe $1,000 a month in disability, but they decided to go back to work and earn a little bit more money. Well, when they start to work and earn more money, their benefits will start to increase as long as they don't go over and get in any trouble and start have their benefits in jeopardy. But when they start to work, their benefit amount is going to go up. Why? Because they're replacing some of those zeros with earnings now. That's how it works. That's how it's calculated. I hope that makes sense. Okay. I got a letter saying I'm on SSDI retirement. That's not SSDI, ma'am. You misunderstood. The letter has retirement. It has, I forget what it says in the title. It'll say all those things, but if you're 68 years old, that's retirement only. That's not SSDI retirement. That is only retirement. And I want to be clear. Disability is for it ends at age 65. So anybody who you were getting disability before you turned 65, it automatically converts to retirement at 68. So I hope that helps, Miss Grace. Do I qualify for a Social Security? I'll be 62 next month. Yes, you do, but you might want to check to see if you should. Just because you turn 62 doesn't mean you have to take your retirement at that age. So okay, so here's a question. My son is on SSDI and they want him to draw off of my work record. What does that mean? That's a good question. So basically, the question is her son is a disabled adult child, and they're saying that he would get more money basically off of his mother. Not sure what he's getting right now. You're saying he gets SSDI, it may even be SSI. Don't know, and I don't ever assume because when I get into the record, I always find something different. But say, for instance, he's getting $300 off of his own record, but he could get $1,000 or $800 off of you. They're always going to try to give the benefits, the higher benefit to the individual, to the claimant. So the advantage for him to file off of you is more money. He would just get more money. He'd still get Medicare and Medicaid, but because they're encouraging him to file off of you, he'll get more money. But it's very likely also that the reason why he's eligible is because he became disabled before the age of 22. And for adult children who were disabled before the age of 22, they're eligible to apply off of their parents, either retirement or disability benefits. That's what that means. And it does not affect you. It won't take anything away from you. Just FYI, when we pay our taxes, when the taxes are taken out of our check from our earnings, every paycheck, that money covers our retirement and or disability and our dependents. So when we are eligible for benefits, we'll become eligible. And if we have children or spouses that qualify, there's set aside money for them as well. So that's how that works. So it would not affect you at all, Mrs. Hunt for bargain. I'm on SSDI retirement. How much can I make a month? So, Miss Grace, if you were the one who said that you're 68, you can make as much money as you want, baby. You're beyond, if you're 68 years old, you're past your full retirement age. And that's another thing. That's a question. When you're asking these questions, always provide your age, because that's the most important determining factor of what you can get and what you can't get, what you can do and what you can't do. We need to know how old you are and if you're insured. Those are the questions that we want to know. I get Social Security and now VA. Are there restrictions? There shouldn't be if you're getting Social Security disability. Only restrictions if you get SSI, and if you're getting SSDI, the restrictions are work. You just got to be careful about your work. That's the most important thing. Woo. I called and they said no matter of age, when you work, you can't make but so much. That's not true, Miss Tisa. So let's be clear. Um, let's be the question in the chat is restrictions. I am 80. I've been saying no. I called and they said no matter the age, when on SSDI, if you work, you can make but so much. And this is what I was just explaining, Tisa. When you get disability, you are basically getting disability because you can't work anymore. Disability goes until the age of 65. The only time that you can't make as much as you can make, the only time you can make as much as you want is when you reach your full retirement age. So anytime that you get disability, there is a limit. But if you're 68 years old, you can make as much as you want because you've reached your full retirement age. So understand this: age applies to disability, but it also applies to retirees as well, because we need to know whether you're over your full retirement age, because at that time it won't matter. Before that, it does, and there is a limit. So those are the restrictions. But at restrictions, I'm 80. There's no restriction on an 80-year-old person. An 80-year-old person is considered full retirement age, and you can do whatever you want. You can. I'm 60 on SSDI. When can I return to work? You can return at any time. You just have to be careful how much you make. So if I'm 68 and get SSDI, can I make as much as I want? I've said that 10 times, Tisa. Can I draw my ex-husband's social security if I kept his last name? The last name has nothing to do with it. If you can prove that you were married to him for over 10 years, they'll look at it. But I want to be clear about something with spouses benefits. So many women are always, I want to get my spouses, I want to get my spouses, only to find out that they get a lot on their own. We're always going to check your record first. We're going to see how much you made. Unless you're a widow, the only circumstance where you would have an advantage of being able to choose his over yours is in a widow situation. But in any other situation, we're looking at your income first. how much money you're entitled to. And if the money that you're entitled to is more than what he's entitled to, I mean, than what you would be entitled to on him, then we're not even looking at him. I'm gonna bring down my chart, and I'm gonna explain this. Y'all let me know if this is if y'all can see this. Is this backwards or frontwards or forward? And I'm gonna do a his and hers chart again. Nope. Is that does this look backwards? Is this backwards, y'all? Yes or no? Tell me if this is backwards. I think. Is this backwards? I'm gonna try to turn it around. Hmm. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to do the flip again, and I forgot. There. I figured it out. Okay. So we're gonna do the math for spouses so that y'all can understand how spouse benefits work. And this doesn't matter if this is your husband or your ex-husband, the math is still the same. So your husband gets 2,500 per month. And the most that you can get from him is half. At the most that you can get from him is half at 62. So he is, let's say he's 64, and it doesn't matter. It matters, but not for this. So if he is 64, he gets 2,500. You're only 62. The most you can only get half of this if you were your full retirement age, which is going to be 67. So you can only get the 1250 off of him if you're 66 or 67. So if you're only 62, it's automatically reduced by 25%. So 25% of that is going to be $312.50 that's going to be reduced from there. So 1250 minus $312.50 is $937.50 if you're 62 years old. So let me break it down. If your husband is 64, he gets $2,500 a month. The most that you could get from him is up to half, but only if you're 67 years old. So if you're 62, I'm putting this here. So if you're 62, then we reduce that by 25%. And then we take that 25%, which is $312 and $312.50. Your amount would be $937. But here's the thing. On your own, you get $1,200. So which one do you think we're going to pay you? You think we're going to pay you $937 or the $1,200? You can only get one. We pay you yours, the 1,200, not the 937. So for those of you who were trying to find out if you can get benefits off of your husband, the first question is, what is my benefit amount? Then you find out what his benefit amount is and see if you qualify based on that. So I just want you guys to know. So I'm testing out my live stream on YouTube, guys. This is my first time. It's gonna go dead in a minute, so because I'm testing out this plan. I didn't upgrade. I'm trying to see how it works first before I do that. But I'm kind of happy with how it's turning out. So Stay tuned. This may happen again later, 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 later. Let's see. We could do that the next time. We'll see how that goes. So so if I'm 68, can I draw my husband's? Love how you explain. Thank you. So just stepping in on the live. Okay, Tender Flower, welcome. Can you keep your SSDI benefits if you marry? Uh-huh. Now it gets tricky when you're getting SSI benefits. What about widows benefits? Widows benefits are different in that, let me just explain widows benefits to y'all. Widows and widowers. Now, this depends on the age that you decide to take the benefits and everything. Widows a little bit trickier, but the math is similar. So let's say your husband's benefits are $3,000 a month, and then you want to take the benefits at 60. His age doesn't matter because he's not here anymore. So we're looking at your age, because if you take your benefits at a reduced age, then you're going to get a reduced benefit. But you can only get 71.5% of that 3,000 if you take it early. So $3,000 times 71.5 is 2145. So what you would get is, if you're a widow, is 2145 per month from his 3,000. The only way you would get this $3,000 is if you waited and took his benefits at your full retirement age. But since you're taking it early, you take a reduction. And as a widow, you get a little bit more money. You get 71.5%. So with that 71.5% of this 3,000 is 2145. That would be your benefit as a widow, compared to if you were his spouse and he was still alive. That $3,000 goes to $1,500. You can only get the $1,500 at full retirement age, as opposed to the $2,000. Now, don't be go trying to knock off no husbands because you want the full benefit. You know, it's crazy people out there. I don't want to encourage nothing. I'm just saying. It ain't funny, but the world we live in, trust no one. Anyway, that's widows. So I'll be 65 in November, but my last day to work is July. Explain the full retirement age for SSDI people. Hi, Tiffany. Tiffany, you work for the agency? What's the most a person can get with SSDI? There's actually no most amount that a person can get with SSDI. Your SSDI benefits are based on your earnings. So when people ask, what's the most that I can get? What's the most work you done? That's the question. A lot of people will go in expecting a whole lot of money because they work for 30 years in the same place, but only made $25,000 a year. When they do an average, you're going to get probably a $25,000 a year paycheck. On average, it's going to be a lot less. So I need y'all to be realistic in your expectations. So let's talk about, the question was asked, explaining retirement benefits for how full retirement age and your benefits work. So I'm going to